Hey everyone, my name is Andrew Hess and I'm a Power Platform developer. But that's not just my only title. I'm actually a software developer. I develop in many different softwares. And today I wanted to go over why we should develop in Power Apps, why we should not develop in Power Apps, and when we should develop in Power Apps. Now, just because Power Apps is a great tool and we've learned this tool, that doesn't mean every application that we use should be made with Power Apps. So why would you want to develop a Power App? And to do that, I'm going to tell you the story how I started creating Power Apps. So it was 2020 and the pandemic came around and we needed a front end in order to collect data and store it somewhere. And we didn't have enough time to do full stack development. So my boss came to me, my CIO, he came to me and he was like, we need an app. And he was thinking Power Apps because I was showing them this. He's like, and we need it now. He's like, we can't wait. We can't wait. We have to have this data. We have to collect it. So within 2 days, I worked about 16 hours a day. I created a Power App and we were able to collect data. And this data housed data in SQL. So it was in a secure way. So to go over why did we develop? One was the speed. The speed was rapidly increased instead of full stack development. The speed that we were able to create a form, collect the data, and store it into SQL, we literally did this in 2 days. So we did a full app in 2 days. So faster development time. The cost was lower. So the cost was lower. We already had Microsoft 365 licenses. So we could use those licenses to develop Power Apps. Now there was less resources needed, right? I was the only developer. We didn't need a project manager. We didn't need all of these people, a QA tester, although we did our testing, to develop in Power Apps. We didn't need multiple developers. It just took me, heads down, develop an app, create a form as fast as I could. And I learned it within that amount of time too. And also another great thing about Power Apps is the customizability. So being able to customize a solution to your needs instead of doing a third party out of the box and paying some other company to make some changes to their tool to accept your business process. The customizability, that's hard to say, in Power Apps is much easier than trying to get another company to change their product. The other great thing when we developed this is it was used as a temporary solution, right? So we wanted to develop this fast. We had 2 days. We developed a temporary solution that would be replaced after some time. So after about 6 months, I think it took, we actually had a real solution in place. So my Power App that I built in 2 days was able to collect data, store it in a SQL server, on premise, in a secure way. That's another thing. In a secure way, we stored our data, and then we were able to migrate it to our new tool after 6 months of using the Power App. So another good reason is mobile friendly. You can develop apps that look good on mobile, and they are scalable. You can make it look good on mobile and desktop with the same app, and you can do this rather quickly with the mobile development. Now finally, the main thing I wanted to get into was the reason I think Power Apps is great in the Power Platform is the community, right? So I learned when I started creating my app, I started learning from Shane Young. The Power Apps, Power Platform community is one of the best software communities that I've ever been in. Like I've done Salesforce, I've done Microsoft Project, I've done many other softwares, but the Power Apps, Power Platform community is the best community I've ever been a part of. Everybody's so friendly, kind. They understand that many people are citizen developers, as in they are not true IT people. They are not software developers. And so once we start understanding that we're all learning this together, I think the excitement and the growth of Power Apps increases with the community. Now that we went over why to develop Power Apps, and I gave you my specific example, let's talk about why not. Many people think that because you can use the license model within 365, that Power Apps, is free. Power Apps is not free. It comes with what's called technical debt, right? So when you develop something with Power Apps, in the future, if you are the sole developer, you're going to have to make changes. People are going to want changes. There's going to be a version 2, a version 3, a version 4, right? You're going to have to come back to them, most likely, right? Maybe they make the perfect Power App, but there's going to be changes in the future, right? And already Microsoft has done this. Microsoft has released modern controls of Power App. Now, maybe this is good for the Microsoft partners and the consultants out there. They can get more work, but developing with modern controls, it changes the UX, the user experience. So now you're going to have some Power Apps that are classic and they have a different look and feel. And then you may have some Power Apps that are this new modern look and feel. We've already experienced that with SharePoint, right? Classic and modern, and the way they look different, and the people who are not working with these tools every day may get confused. So you have to go in and update your Power Apps. So this technical debt that you will incur, right? You're going to have resources, and maybe this resource, I'm going to put it in a nice way, won the lottery, right? Maybe the resource won the lottery and left your organization. Then who is going to complete the work? We're talking 3 years, 5 years down the road, maybe even 1 year, maybe even 1 year down the road. One of your resources, he goes and he wins the lottery and he finds another position somewhere else, and then you have no one to create this Power App for you. So technical debt is something you need to be aware of. Another thing, and this is another buzzword, is what's called shadow IT. So shadow IT is when someone outside your IT department starts developing without the watchful eye of your IT department. So they're creating these large business processes, and maybe you're not even aware. Maybe they don't share the app with anybody. So that goes into one thing. Always share your app with someone else. 2 people should own every app. Every Power Automate, at least 2 people should own your Power App and your Power Automate at your organization. No matter what, every single one of them. 2 people should own it, because when one person leaves and you don't know about it and it goes away, be careful of that. That goes into more about shadow IT. People are developing outside the IT department without your permission. You do have governance tools to keep a watchful eye over all the apps that are being developed. But let's say you have 10,000 users developing or in your organization. It's very hard to control 10,000 users unless you turn off Power Apps or Power Automate without them going through a course. When that happens, I don't think you should do this. I don't think you should turn off Power Apps if people go through a course, because that's the power of Power Apps, is giving these citizen developers, control. That's why you have governance. Now, another thing that people may not realize is the cost increase of using premium licenses in Power Apps. Let's say you have 10,000 users at your organization and you create an app for the entire organization, but it uses a premium function. That's $20 per month. For 10,000 users, that's $200,000 a month. For 1 month, that's $200,000. So you have to work around these limits. That's a reason not to do Power Apps, is maybe you want an app that's for the entire organization and your organization is too large and you don't want to incur those costs, right? Of course, Microsoft will work with you if you want to bring in that many people to Power Apps, but you have to be wary of the premium license cost, right? The license model of Microsoft is very complex. They have license engineers, so be wary of those license costs and the increased cost. Of course, Microsoft wants to pull you in. They want to pull you into Power Apps to let you show you Excel as a data source and SharePoint, and then they want to kind of pull you into Dataverse and then make everybody incur more cost, right? The objective of Microsoft is to make money. That's every business. Okay, so we went over why and why not. And if you have any more thoughts about why you should or why you should not, feel free to put a comment. I don't mind. Feel free to tell me I'm wrong. I don't mind. I would love to have your input because I want to learn, why or why not people create Power Apps. So let's talk about when you should create Power Apps, right? So when should you create a Power Apps? You should create a Power App. One reason is you already are using the Microsoft stack. If you're already using these tools in Microsoft, I agree that you should start exploring Power Apps and their functionality and kind of go from there, right? Because you're not going to incur any cost if you start exploring learning, innovation. You're going to have collaboration. People really love these tools, right? So if you start collaborating together at my company, we have a monthly meeting where we all talk and we share our Power Automates and Power Apps, and we're all learning together. And it's one of the most exciting meetings per month. And I'm not just saying that for me. People were telling me this too. This is their most exciting meeting of the month when we share what we're doing. And this is across multiple departments. When you want to create a Power App is when you want to streamline a business process. Say you want some kind of automation. You want some user experience to fill out a form. And then you want to use Power Automate, a workflow tool, to push this out to an email, or to push this out to a different data source, or to push it into Power BI and create analytics. That's a very good reason of when you want to create a Power App. Another good reason that I find to create Power Apps is when you want a short-term solution. Power Apps is great for short-term solutions because of the speed that you can create, right? So let's say your budget does not allow for you to have, the tool that you want. There's a tool out there that you want and you've got to have it, but your budget doesn't allow for it this fiscal year. You can create a Power App as a temporary solution. 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years down the road, then you can get that, beautiful product that you want. But for now, you can use Power Apps. We've been doing this a lot. I really think that's a good use case for Power Apps, is when you want a short-term solution. Another good reason is maybe your company has limited developer resources. Using citizen developers to learn these tools can actually increase performance and work at your job, right? Power Apps is getting AI. It's going to be easier and easier and easier. You can literally use AI and create a Power App in maybe, I would say, 3 to 5 minutes. You make a couple changes, you have a form ready, and you can write your data to a data source. The other is, and I said this before as a negative, why not, is the cost. But if you don't go into that premium license capacity, or maybe you limit how much you do there, Power Apps is great for a cost-effective solution. That's when you should develop a Power App. And finally, the main reason to develop a Power App is you want something highly customizable under your control at your organization. Now, like I said, your Power App should be shared or owned by multiple users or a group of users. That way, if someone wins the lottery, you have someone to take over the reins and you can keep working on your Power App. But being able to develop a highly customized solution in a low code, no code, or even a very coded, you can start writing code if you want, solution is the main reason to develop a Power App. Is you want to own your product, you want to own your data in a secure way, store it in a secure data source. That is the reason when you should develop a Power App. So if you like this content, if you have a comment, feel free to leave one. I would love to hear your reason why or how you started with Power Apps. So my name is Andrew Hess. Please leave a comment. I'll see you next time. See you next week. Thank you.